the best way to describe Peter and I is that first bullet, that we're corporate refugees, and after a number of years working in large organizations, we just said, okay, we can't do this anymore. I lasted 15 years, he lasted about 5. So after that, we decided we'd start a software company. We just moved up to the Silicon Valley area, and we thought, how difficult could it be to start a company? Well, a little different now that we have a perspective, but you know, it was a rough and tumble experience. It was early 2000s, and we ended up selling the company, but not only after going through some pretty dramatic experiences that we really learned some very, very important lessons about how powerful your thinking is. And that's what we do today, is work with folks in that, well, about thinking. And I'll turn it over to Peter. So.
Yeah, what we learned is that, actually what we do now is we help people make more money and be happier. And who wouldn't want that, right? One of the things that we learned as we went through many, many corporate jobs and ended up selling our own company is that we spent a lot of time doing things that we really don't love to do and weren't really happy doing it. And one of the things that we found is if you don't like what you're doing, right, you won't make as much money as when you do like what you're doing. Right? It makes a huge difference. You won't have as much fun if you're in a job, or even if you're an entrepreneur, you're your own business person, and you really don't like what you're doing, you're not going to have as much fun. And you're not going to live the life you want because you're going to feel tied to doing that work. And I guess where we always end up is, are you happy? Are you happy doing what you're doing? And if not, why the heck are you doing it? We only live so long, and right now with this pandemic, right, we get a sense for how fragile life is and how important it is to be connected with other people and to be connected to ourselves. And if we're busy taking on work that we don't enjoy doing, right, what the heck are you doing? Yeah. So if you don't like what you're doing, there's really 2 options. And this is something that we've come up with because of our experiences in going through very, very difficult times, near bankruptcy, cancer, depression, all the stuff you can been thrown at us, but we were able to come through it. And the reason we were able to come through is we recognize there's 2 very, very, very important lessons that we learned. If you're doing something you don't like to do, you can either change your job, change what you're doing, right? And you can do that by switching jobs, which we've done many, many times. Yep. You can do that by completely changing industries, which we've done many, many times. But that only works so far, because what you really have to do is get to the point where you change yourself. And that's the message that we have for you today. Is you can see in the back here, the name of our company is called You Can Choose. And it's all based on that. You can choose whatever it is that you want. And if you just change your job or you just change your relationship, but you don't change who you are inside, you're going to end up in the same spot. There's many times where we've been in a job, we end up, oh, I don't like this. The boss is no good. My colleagues are no good. The customers are no good. Whatever it is, you end up changing a job. Guess what? A year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, you get the same issue. Exact same issues where you are. Unless you change yourself, it won't make any difference.
I think part of what you're talking about is alignment, right?
It's truly alignment, right? And that's what we get into in our workshops and our consulting sessions, is how to become aligned with who you are, what you want, and what you do. Once you've got that line, things are fantastic.
Right.
So many of you out there are going to be disrupted by what's going on with this pandemic. This is an opportunity for you to think about who you are, what you want, and what you do.
Right.